paar dae later het hy my opgebel en sê, Madiba, I was very concerned that you drove yourself from Soweto. And so I asked a few friends whether they could help. Toe vertel my dat iemand 5.000 rand geskenk het vir elke maand, sodat ek 'n bestuurder kon kry.
President Mandela, you've never seen me without Ifita's hair. And I say, no, Peter, I have not. I said, do you want to see? He said, oh, yes. En hy lag, jy weet, soos 'n skoolkind wat 'n chocolate gaan kry. En ek haal die hare af en hy sê, no, please put it back.
Ek dink sy menslikheid en sy bereidwilligheid om dit te vergeet en aan te gaan, min mense het dit. En dat hy die gewys het dat hy deel van ons is, dat hy wil hê die Springbokke moet goed doen, dat die nasie wil hê ons moet goed doen, het hy as persoon ons kom besoek en het oorgedra. Nie 'n boodskap gestuur of 'n brief nie, hy het persoonlik dit vir ons kom sê.
Om te wys hoe almal om hom was. Ek dink met al daai groot name in die bedryf en Nelson Mandela is die ou wat uitgestaan het, jy weet, en almal was net oor hom daar. Dit was vir my 'n baie groot oomblik en dit wys vir die krag wat daai man gehad het.
Die vermoë gehad om elke persoon te laat voel asof hy of sy die belangrikste persoon in die kamer dan was. En dit was net so oplettend om te sien, as iemand met hom gepraat het, daar was net hierdie groot glow, hierdie groot gelukkigheid. En dis iets wat ek altyd sal onthou.
Weet jy, as jy vir my vra wie die president is van China, Bangladesh, enige van daai lande, weet ek nie. Maar elke liewe meisie het geweet wie Nelson Mandela was. En dit was, dink ek, hulle hoogtepunt van die hele kompetisie. Hy kon eintlik daai aand by die kroning van die Mevrou Wêreld, kon hy nie daar wees nie. Hy was oor see gewees. En toe stuur hy vir my die briefie om basies vir my geluk te wens. Maar wat vir my die stunningste ding was, is hy het vir my daai aand gebel, na die kroning, om te sê, ek het gekyk, jy het stunning gelyk, en onthou, ek's baie trots op jou, and life's not all about winning.
Oh, what beautiful, beautiful memories. Just watching them brings, a tear to my eye. Madiba just meant so much to everybody, and everyone that you meet will attest to this fact, that he made everybody, even if you were nobody, feel like you were a somebody. He just had that kind of magic. And this evening, we're very honored to be joined by two really special gentlemen, Vern Harris, who is Director of Research and Archives at the Nelson Mandela Center of Memory, and we'll be talking to him a bit later on about this Madiba legacy and how to best preserve, I guess, the essence of the man.
And we also have in studio a friend of mine, Kaya Dlanga, social commentator, marketer, and I believe possibly the next Tutu.
The Rainbow Nation.
No, I just thought you're as animated as him, full of poignancy, and you're both very tall in stature.
Only in stature.
Look, I mean, Kaya, you write extensively about Madiba. And particularly his legacy. How do young people like ourselves, younger people, actually build on this legacy? How do they own this thing, and what should it mean for them?
I think it's really looking at him as an example. And my view is looking at ourselves and not just as small people in South Africa. And I just want us, I feel like we need, whatever we do has got to have a bit, well, not a bit, but a global impact. So what is this positive change that we want to bring to the country that will absolutely engulf the whole world? And for me, that's what I think Madiba represents to me. He doesn't represent a small person who wants to do small things. It's about South Africans wanting to do great things.
So in 2 years, he'll still be relevant, do you think?
Oh, absolutely. He's going to be relevant for eternity. Unless, I don't know, we burn down books and we have no documents. I think that's what would happen.
And that's exactly why you are here, Vern, to ensure that this legacy actually continues, not only, you know, for us here, but for generations to come. Let's tell us more about the Centre of Memory and why it was actually called a Centre of Memory as opposed to a museum or any other name that might be used for an institution such as your own.
Well, I remember we sat with Madiba when we were first conceptualizing this institution. And one of the things he said to us was, don't turn this into a mausoleum. In other words, it has to be a living space. And we deliberately used the word memory because memory is light and it changes over time and it inspires and it creates identity. That's what we want to be doing.
Now tell me about poignant moments that you've had with Madiba that you feel actually capture the very essence of who he is, I guess beyond the drama, beyond the PR, beyond what the world knows, but the true essence.
Well, you know, one thing from the archive, which can be a very boring kind of area of human activity, but you know Madiba was a lawyer and set up the first black law firm with O.R. Tambo. In the archive, you find the record of his exam results as a student. And what you will find is that it took him from 1943 to 1989 to get his LLB, and he failed over 30 university courses in that period of time, which tells us something about him, the endurance, the determination. Failure is not going to make me give up.
I absolutely love that. And it doesn't mean for all you young people who are watching out there that you should fail over and over and over again and then say to your parents, but Mom, even Madiba failed 30 whatever many times.
Okay, listen, Kaya, I mean, you're quite influential in social networks, and some have even described you as a tough leader. Have you picked up any lessons from Madiba's own life?
Oh yeah, I think the things I've picked up from his life is his honesty. He was honest without being rude. He was able to deal with seemingly difficult issues. I'll never forget this. When I was president and Bill Clinton was in the country, I remember this, they had a press conference, and so a journalist asked Madiba about the fact that we have relationships with Cuba and Libya, and then he says, you know what, Bill Clinton's standing right next to him as president of the United States, and he says, you know what, these people were our friends during the struggle, and anyone who tells us that we need to separate them now that we're free can go and jump in a pool. And that's what he said. He was absolutely honest. He understood that America is powerful. They can disinvest from South Africa, but he had the principles. I think for me it's like it's being married to your principle and not being married to whatever whatever direction the wind blows in. And for me, that, I think, shows a lot of toughness.
Definitely. And now, in closing, Vern, what would be your final message to South Africans regarding the Centre of Memory? Like, I remember immediately after we heard of Madiba's passing, I spent the next day with you at the Centre of Memory. You opened that up as well yesterday for the South Africans to come and use that space to mourn and to get to know more about Tata. Jesse Jackson was also there last night. What is the future for the Centre of Memory?
Well, I think the important thing is that we're not about preserving the past. It's about memory being a resource to make a liberatory future. And I think that's right at the core of Madiba's legacy, is that we take responsibility for liberating ourselves and for liberating society.
And for liberating society. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure just spending the evening with you and talking about the special moments that we've all had with Tata during this time of grieving. May you use whatever tools that are available to you to really process exactly what it is that's happening, to celebrate the life and yet mourn the loss, and then also contemplate your way moving forward.
Thank you, South Africa. Good night. And thank you to our team and our interpreters.
Good night. Have a good night. Our interpreters were fabulous. I hope everybody understood.